Hello and welcome to another match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. What a surprising and shocking result for Liverpool as they lose to Atalanta 3-0 at Anfield. Um, yeah, still trying to get my head around the result and the performance in general, which we'll touch during the show. So yeah, what we'll do today, we'll discuss the key moments of the game. Then I'll do the player ratings. It's also a calling show, guys. So if you'd like to come on, have your say, express your disappointment in the game, feel free to do so. The link is pinned in the live chat. So yeah, feel free to hit the link. And yeah, hopefully I'll get you on during the show, probably after the player rating. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. But yes, let's talk about the games. Actually, in fact, you know what? Let's have a look at the lineups because I think that was a surprise for me in terms of how the team was set up early on, because there was a lot of talk amongst content creators and the media in terms of what sort of team Klopp will field in this one. I thought he was going to go really strong. I thought he was going to start the likes of Diaz and Salah in midfield and Szoboszlai and Robertson as well, in fact. But none of these players started the game. So it was Kelleher and goal, which is fair enough. I know Alisson is almost ready to be in the firing lineup right now, but at the minute it's too soon to put him there. And in terms of the back four, Joe Gomez at right back wasn't a surprise. Simicast starting was a slight surprise for me. I would have probably expected Robertson to go into this game. And in the midfield, yeah, Jones has certainly picked up some form, I think, since his return from injury, but in the last game was pretty poor. So that was a surprise to see him start. I thought he would have come off the bench at a later stage. And then Elliott on the right wing and Gakpo on the left wing. So, yeah, I was surprised with the slightly rotated squad, and I think that might have played a part in terms of how we played today, because we didn't seem to have any rhythm, no urgency, no intensity in our play. And unfortunately, it's not the first time I've described a Liverpool performance. That has happened a few times this season, which is not what you like to hear. But let's discuss the key moments of the game. So the first opening 10 minutes was quite an open game, to be fair. Liverpool almost conceded a goal very early on as Pasalic smacks the ball on Kelleher's face. I shouldn't laugh, but the commentators were speaking like it was a wonder save. It was just a good block from the keeper. I saw one, but I guess he took it like a champ. And then Atalanta have another chance as De Catalara backheels the ball towards Koopmeiners, but his shot is blocked by his own player, which was Skamaka. And then from there onwards, it was neck and neck, but Liverpool started to pick up a bit of form. Jones threads a through ball towards Darwin Núñez, who's through on goal, but he executes the shot all wrong. He's one-on-one with the keeper. In that moment, he should have opened up his body because it was on the left side, open up his body and go for the right side. Instead, he went for sort of like a snapshot, but it was a dinked effort, and then went straight for the left corner. But in the end, he didn't even hit the target and hit his shot completely wide. So poor execution with no sort of intelligence in terms of what he needed to do in front of goal there. So yeah, a disappointing effort and a big chance for me around that time. And then Harvey Elliott was very close to opening the scoreline for Liverpool with his cold effort from the right side. But unfortunately, his effort hits the bottom of the crossbar, then onto the post, and then bounces out back into play. So yeah, very unlucky with that effort. And then Curtis Jones has a similar effort to Harvey Elliott, but this time it's on the left side of the box. Same outcome. Well, not same outcome. Unfortunately, hits the ball over the bar. But Liverpool will then hit with a blow just before halftime, around the 30th minute, as Gamaka opens the deadlock. Great low cross from David Costa. Now, in terms of the shot, for me, poor effort from Kelleher, who for me should have saved it. It was not an effort that had a lot of power. It was a routine shot, and it went underneath the keeper. So for me, that is a mistake. Koopmeiners almost extends the lead before halftime, but his shot was saved by Kelleher. So overall, a weird first half performance, to say the least. Didn't play relatively well, but still managed to create some chances in front of goal. Not clear-cut chances as of yet, but it gave you some sort of confidence in terms of hoping that maybe we can continue our form and um, go from there on. Maybe change the personnel a little bit and then go forward. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Second half, Klopp did make a wholesale of changes. It was in fact a triple substitution. Mohamed Salah, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Andrew Robertson came on for Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, and Kostas Tsimikas. Salah almost equalizes for Liverpool with a double shot in front of goal. In the end, a great save by Musso to parry the ball away. Nunes then has a chance moments later, but his shot is looped over the bar. And that was his last contribution. Luis Diaz is then brought on to add some pace onto the flank. But around the hour mark, Atalanta extend their lead once again to make it 2-0. Scamacca is completely unmarked in the middle of the box and comfortably slots into the back of the net. Shambolic defending from Liverpool. Jota comes on to make his return. Sorry, it just seems to have lost my connection there. Hopefully, I'm still here. Yeah, as I was saying, Jota comes on to make his return and almost made an instant impact as he's fouled on the edge of the box, but we're not in pile up from the set piece. But around the 79th minute, Liverpool managed to hit the back of the net with the best move of the game. But Salah, unfortunately, was marginally offside and the goal was ruled out. But moments later, Liverpool were hit with a dagger in their hearts as Pasalic makes it 3-0. Unfortunately, Szoboszlai gives the ball away. Scamacca does fantastically well, holds the ball up, and then threads a lovely through ball to Emerson. His effort is blocked by Kelleher, but Pasalic scores from the rebound. Another poor save from Kelleher. Look, I don't have an agenda, and I don't mean to be rude, but I'm so glad Alisson is close to returning to the first team, from injury, because Keller has done well during Alisson's absence, but he has had these sort of games where his shot stopping has to be questioned. So, yeah, I know that sounds a bit harsh, but for me, 2 out of the goals, he should have saved them, in my opinion. But look, Robertson almost got a consolation goal just before the end of the game, but his distinct effort was cleared off the line. So, that's the end of the match review. Overall, I think Liverpool were absolutely awful today. But let's get credit to our opposition, Atalanta, who are fantastic. And for me, executed the perfect plan. They stuck to their guns and in the end got their rewards. The second leg is next week, but it's not going to be an easy task at all. Atalanta have won 9 of their last home games, and it's against Italian teams. We don't seem to have the best of records. So it doesn't look like an easy task. However, if one team can break the mold, that's Liverpool Football Club. But right now, as you can probably tell from the expression on my face and the way I'm talking right now, I'm very disappointed with this defeat. And it's come up as a very huge surprise. I knew Atalanta were a good team, but the way they won the game was not what I had expected. They completely outplayed us, and that's a huge pill to swallow. So let's wrap up the show. Let's do the player ratings. As I mentioned, if you'd like to call in, I have pinned the link in the live chat. And if you'd like to come on, I'll get you on after the player rating. So let's begin with Kelleher. So let me share the graphics first. Here we go. So Kelleher. Made some good saves. A couple of decent saves, I guess, in the first half. The one where he smacked his face. And then the last one, which was just before halftime when Coop Miners was through on goal. To be fair, it was a heavy touch from him. But in the end, Kelleher still made the block. The first goal for me was a poor one to concede. And then the one later on in the second half, I think he should have held on to this was the third goal that I'm referring to. And he should have caught the ball in my opinion. So for me, a poor performance from him. And I can't really sugarcoat it any further. Like in terms of generally, he had an average performance in terms of different aspects of his game, but in the end, those mistakes cost us. So for me, I'm giving him a 3 out of 10. Guys, if you're watching live, feel free to drop your ratings for each player as I'm going along. Some may disagree, some may agree with my ratings there. Regardless, love to hear from you guys and let's see what you think. So, on to the next player. Simicast started the game okay, but then he started playing with any intelligence. He was just going further up forward, never really tracking back. And that was probably the sole reason why he got substituted that second half, because he just was a bit all over the place. Passing was a bit off the rails, wasn't very consistent with it. So no, for me, poor performance from him. So I'm going to give him 4 out of 10. I don't think he did that well. On to, let's go for the other fullback. Joe Gomez. He wasn't good on the ball today either. Very wasteful in possession. The only positive that I can give in terms of Joe Gomez is that he kept on going. He kept on driving the ball. He tried to find areas to unlock the defense or try to thread the ball to try and make an opening. He, he had a shot on goal. He had a couple of shots. One went wide, which I think wasn't the best of efforts, but he didn't really have any choice. He had like 3-4 players around him, so I don't think he saw a pass coming, so he just thought, why not just take a crack on goal? And then he had one on the edge of the box, and Klopp was fuming after that shot because the shot wasn't really on. I know he was in a central position, but he was a better option for him to play out wide. I think Szoboszlai was still there. And yeah, Klopp was furious afterwards, as understandable. So yeah, I think he had a very average game of 4. He was poor in possession at times, but he gave his all. So with that in mind, why has he got 5? He gets 4. Joe Gomez gets 5 out of 10. Konate was okay today. He wasn't his usual self. He struggled at times when he was doing one-on-one duels with Scamacca. Scamacca is quite a physical player. I didn't really see that much in the Premier League, but in this game, he certainly was. He was definitely up for it. And yeah, there was a couple of moments where he just couldn't get a touch on the player. There was an occasion where it was around the halfway line. He tried to swipe his leg a couple of times because he just couldn't get the ball off him. So he had an average performance for me today. Unfortunately, the goal, I think it was the second one where Scamacca was in acres of space, was down to his poor positioning. So yeah, for me, I don't think he had the best of games. So with that being said, I'll give him a 6, which sounds a bit like too much of a strong score, but I'll let it be. I think the mistake was definitely a role, but generally he did okay. So I think he did better than the other 2 players I've rated. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Van Dijk didn't really put a foot wrong, but I think when you're playing around players that haven't been consistent or are misplacing passes, it's very hard to stand out. So I think he had a decent game today. Wasn't at fault as such, but I think as a collective, we weren't very good. So for me, I'm just going to give him a safe rank of saying 7. I don't think he deserves anything higher. I don't think anyone does in terms of their performance due to the fact that we lost 3-0, especially from a defensive point of view. No one deserves a higher rating than that, in my opinion. So yeah, that's probably my annoyance showing there, but that's the rating I'm giving for Van Dijk. Now, in terms of Endo, bit of a quiet game. Decent on the ball, but at the same time, gave the ball away, got tackled quite a few times without releasing the ball quicker. So that was a little bit frustrating. So yeah, an average performance. In the last game, I thought he was quite average as well. So I don't know, because he's been playing consecutive games, maybe it's picking up on him a little bit. So yeah, I thought he was quite average today. So for me, he gets sorry, that's the wrong player. So he gets a 6 out of 10. Jones, for me, he was wasteful in possession quite a lot of times. So many times where he held onto the ball. And I feel like that's going to be a common theme with a lot of the players today, where they would get the ball and then they were just like so slow to make that next move. Normally, when you're playing football at a good pace or at a good level, you've already thought of the next move or 2 moves ahead, depending how good you are as a player. these guys just didn't know what to do once they received the ball. They were completely lost. And because of Atalanta's intensity in terms of how they were playing, how they were pressing, they managed to get the ball off us with ease, to be fair. They were first on the ball if it was, a 50-50 challenge. But when we had the ball as well, they took it off us um, with complete ease, like you're taking a toy off a baby. That's how easy it was. So, no, very, very disappointing in terms of his performance. Last game, he looked a bit off form for me as well. It's only when he had that brief cameo, I think against Brighton, I think it was, where he looked all right. But otherwise, no. He still needs to find his rhythm. In this game, for me, just wasn't it. And it's understandable why Klopp took him off at halftime. So for me, he gets a 5 out of 10. McAllister was probably the decent player in our midfield three. Decent on his passing. But yeah, I think similar to Van Dijk, due to the players around him, wasn't able to impact the game or influence the game to his normal standard. So for me, he gets a 7 out of 10 as well. Now, in terms of our front three, I can't lie, I thought it was a little bit harsh to substitute Elliot. I'm not saying he was great, but out of the players that were substitute, I don't think he should have been the first one, or he should have been part of that collection of triple substitutions there. I thought he was okay. I thought he started the game really positively, good on the ball, nice first touch here and there, had a shot where he almost scored, hitting the crossbar. But then again, it just fizzled out a little bit, and I thought maybe Klopp wanted more of a direct approach, having Salah on there. But I don't think he was actually that bad today in comparison to others. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Darwin Núñez is a bit of a funny one. Quiet in a lot of parts of the game, but he was chaotic. And normally when we describe him when he's chaotic is in a positive light. For me, it was a negative, where I don't feel like he had a clue what he was doing today. He was running through the channels, through the middle, but without real purpose or really knowing why he's doing that, if that makes sense. So for me, sounds a bit rude, but he was a bit clueless in terms of his attacking play today. That finish, that one-on-one finish that I was speaking about earlier on, yeah, that was poor. You don't have to be an elite level to finish that kind of shot, but you have to be a good level to do it. And he just didn't have the intelligence to understand what he needs to do. It was a very lazy shot. It was like the free ball came, let me just make some contact in it, and then boom, it went wide. It wasn't even near the goal whatsoever. So for me, that was a lazy attempt that had no sort of thinking behind it. So yeah, I don't think he was good today. He hasn't been good for the last few weeks, in my opinion. So that's something to look into the next game in terms of, does he start, does he not? It's a big question there. So for me, he gets a 5 out of 10. I don't think he was that great today, to be fair. Gakpo, for me, was probably the better player out of a terrible bunch, if I'm being brutally honest. Today, what impressed me was his first touch and his half turns and the turn of speed that he showed in parts of the game. He was carrying the ball quite a lot of times today, played centrally at times, played on the left side. I feel like he was the only positive player in the team. The only thing is, I don't think he was very potent in front of goal. He didn't have many chances on goal, to be fair, but I think he was being more of a team player rather than anything else. So if players around him were on top of their game, then it could have been a completely different outcome. But in terms of his individual performance, I thought he did decent. He wasn't excellent or anything like that, but I think he did a good job today. So for me, he gets a 7.5 out of 10. So that is my ratings for the players, guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of my scores. Have I been too harsh? Have I been too nice? Drop a comment. Love to hear from you guys. Just got a comment here from Graham Rogers. Thank you for your comment, Graham. He says, horrendous performance. He would have been better playing the kids. They could have done any worse, and they have not let us down this season. That's a fair point, Graham. And do you know what the funny thing about all of that is? We actually had a very strong bench as well. And I feel like a lot of them could have started as well. And then, we would have had the likes of Bobby Clark. You would have had Dan's as well on the bench and stuff. But I believe a lot of them weren't even on the bench today. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Graham. Horrendous performance indeed. Took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting this level of performance. I knew Atalanta were a strong team and were going to cause us problems at stages, but not in the manner of how we lost today. So it's a hard one to take. I'll be brutally honest. Yeah, the kids that you mentioned, they show a lot of fight, a lot of heart. So maybe that was needed at times. But I just feel like, I don't know, Liverpool just weren't on top of it at all whatsoever today. No creativity, no urgency, no intensity. These are words I use quite a lot, but we lack them in this performance. And it's very unlike a Klopp team to not possess those qualities. So, yeah, difficult one, Graham. Difficult one to take today. In terms of my man of the match, I have to do it from a customary point of view, but I don't feel like no one deserves man of the match. But I'm going to give it to Gakpo. See, he's got the highest of ratings here. So yeah, for me, it's going to be Cody Gakpo. Drop a comment, let me know who your man of the match is. Not something to brag about, but we got to do it as part of our player ratings. And for me, Cody Gakpo gets the nod. So I'm going to quickly review the substitutes because there were 5 of them today. So let's place them on the field, and then we can put them in the correct positions and take it from there. So the first substitution was Salah on for Elliott. And then we had Szoboszlai on for Curtis Jones. And then we've got Robertson for Tsimikas. And then we've got Diaz for Nunez. And then we have Jota for Endo. Okay, so the back four's fine. Obviously, Jota's not playing that role. So it'll be... what kind of... So definitely Diaz in there, right? I feel like we ended up playing like that kind of formation, like we always do to try and get something out of the game. But yeah, it didn't pan out that way, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's start with Salah. He didn't do much, if I'm being honest with you. He had that moment we had that couple shots where first shot was blocked, and then he had a second shot parried away by the keeper. So that was very close. He did score, or should I say, he did hit the back of the net. Great move. That was the best move. Great speed and intensity of that play. But unfortunately, Salah was marginally offside. And like, he was positive on the ball. Whenever he got the ball, kept it in possession, tried to thread balls. But unfortunately, when he gave it to other players, they let him down. So for me, had a decent performance. Nothing great, to be brutally honest with you guys. So in terms of his rating, he gets a 6 out of 10 for me. Not a 7, behave. 6 out of 10. And then Szoboszlai, yeah, played a part, unfortunately, for the final goal. It was his mistake. That pass back towards Konate was too short. And the funny thing is, when he was dribbling with the ball, I just had this sort of mental moment where I was like, what is Szoboszlai doing so deep? That's not his role. He's an attacking midfielder, an attack-minded player. He should not be carrying the ball from that kind of zone. That is not his game. So as he was doing that, he then produces that mistake. So I was just so disappointed to see that. But yeah, we've not, since his return back from injury, I don't think we've utilized him very well. He's having to drop deep in a lot of games, and that's not his game. He should be at the forefront. So yeah, poor mistake, because you can tell it affected his confidence. He had a shot moments later as Gomez put him through on goal. And normally he'd smash it, but this one he just placed it to the straight at the keeper. So it wasn't even an effort worth discussing. So now a poor performance from Szoboszlai, unfortunately, on his cameo there. So he gets a 4 out of 10. And Robertson, for me, he was decent, to be fair. He tried his best when he came on. Almost scored, had a dinked effort, cleared off the line. Passing was good. He was probably very positive out of the substitutes that came on. For me, should have started the game, but squad rotation played the role today. So in terms of his performance, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. And Diaz was definitely a positive player to come on, attacking that left-hand side. Had a shot that was saved from the keeper, but otherwise had another moment actually where he was in the box and he just couldn't find his feet to take a shot. So he definitely caused a bit of chaos when he came on, but unfortunately nothing that led to anything in the end. So for me, he gets a 6 out of 10 as well. And Jota, firstly, good to see him back on the pitch. He's been sorely missed. We've lacked that gunman. So even his first touch when he came on, the way he went past 2 players and then he got fouled just on the edge of the box. That's that move we lacked up top because he's such an agile player. He's capable of just dribbling the ball, swerving around. He had a couple of moments where he had a couple of headed shots. And yeah, his heading game was just not on today. Poor efforts, to be fair. But obviously, he's just come back, so I won't be too harsh on him. But I'm glad he's back in the squad, fully fit. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he lines up in the next game. But for me, in terms of today's performance, decent cameo. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10 as well. And yeah, that is my player rating, guys. Before I wrap up, just going to go through some of the comments here. Who says Gustav Scouser? He says sign and Cisco. I believe that's the Brighton player. He's a decent player, to be fair. And then you will say all players tonight, 2 out of 10. Yeah, I feel your pain, to be fair. It was very hard for me to give decent ratings today, but sometimes you have to play that role. And then Burning Bean, he says, what's crazy is Atalanta just lost to Fiorentina and Cagliari. One is a relegation side. We deserved it. And he's got his hands up there. Club underestimate them and it's his fault and the players. All I can do is laugh. Over. Yeah, you better than me if you're laughing. But yeah, they're not doing well in the league, to be fair. They, like you mentioned, they lost to Cagliari on the weekend, 2-1, I believe the result was. They're 6th in the league. They've won 15 and lost 10. So it's not a reflection of a strong team. They've almost lost as many games as much as they won. So yeah, it's a weird one when you say he underestimated. I think he's aware of the quality that they possessed. But I think probably for the first time this season, he actually had the eye off the ball today. Normally, he does take it one game at a time. But I feel like in this game, he had his focus on the Palace game. I truly believe that. So it could cost us in the end. Forget the whole quad talk, treble talk. I'm not gonna entertain it anymore. But this was a trophy that I thought we should really go for. It's one that Klopp hasn't won as a Liverpool manager. So for me, this would be a nice enough for that to happen. I'm not accepting defeat. Don't get me wrong. We're a Liverpool Football Club. We've come back, from these scorelines many times in the past. So it's not the end until the final whistle is blown. So right now, I'm going to see the glass as half full and try and remain positive. But you can probably tell from the way I'm speaking right now or how I'm showing in terms of my facial expressions, I'm very disappointed with this outcome. Had to do a watch along, felt like logging off at parts of the time, but yeah, disappointing result. But yeah, hopefully we can try and resurrect it somehow. And we don't have that long. It's literally next Thursday. So we'll see how it goes. And your next comment is we must sell certain players. Let me know who you have in mind in terms of who we should sell. I wouldn't go on around in terms of selling players due to this result, but I think Klopp has to hold his hand up in terms of underestimating the team. Like you mentioned, I generally thought he would have fielded a very strong team, like he has done previously, because we've played teams like Sparta Prague, who we beat them 5-1 in the first leg, and then second leg he fielded a very strong team, and it's just like, why do we're not winning 11-2, but who cares what your scoreline is on aggregate? You don't need to field your best team in that situation. So I thought first leg he would have gone strong, and then he would have rotated in the second leg, but he's done that other way around. So yeah, that's definitely caught me by surprise. Unfortunately, it looks like it could cost us in terms of our progression in this competition. We were so bad we cannot even commit. No, we were poor in every department, unfortunately. That's lots of good on you. Yeah, no, they deserve credit. Obviously we're speaking from a Liverpool's point of view today, but let's give them credit. They were fantastic today. Very, very good. So yeah. And then you've just mentioned some players there. So Thiago, Matip, Salah, Nunes, Tsimikas, I'd move them on. Elliot has to step up and be more aggressive. So Thiago, despite him being one of my favorite players of all time, yes, he does need to go. If you're not available, there's no point of you being around the squad, in my opinion. Matip is a question mark, and the only reason I say is a question mark because if rumors are to be believed that Ruben Amorim is the next manager, we all know he favors a 3-4-3 formation. So maybe Matip could be an option, because you'll need more than 5 centre backs. You might need 6. So I'll leave that statement for now, because I will be doing a show on Ruben Amorim very, very soon. So make sure you look out for that. If you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We can talk about Liverpool's future and players that we could sell and bring in as well. It'll be an interesting discussion to have with you guys. So yeah, make sure you hit that notification bell. Now, in terms of your other players there, Salah, I'm not ready to let go of Salah. I'm sorry. That player is still world class in my opinion, and I'm not ready for that. I don't think we should sell him, to be fair. He will go and leave and join a Saudi Arabia team in the coming years. But I've mentioned this previously. That offer will always be on the table. He can be 40 years old. Saudi Arabia will still want to sign him. So there's no urgency for him to leave. Unless he personally wants to leave and go to Saudi, that's a complete different discussion. But from a Liverpool point of view, we should not really entertain the fact that he should be on the transfer market at all, in my opinion. He's still a high quality player, and I'm speaking hindsight because nothing's official. But if Ruben Amorim is our new manager, him playing in a 3-4-3 formation will actually suit his current skill set, in my opinion, and it could unlock a different player in terms of his outcome. So, yeah, we'll discuss that, as I mentioned, in another show. Tsimikas, yeah, Tsimikas has his hot and cold days, unfortunately, but he's a squad player, so you got to take it with what you get with him sometimes. And you said you move on Elliot because he needs to be a bit more aggressive. I think Elliot's been all right, to be fair, this year. Whenever he's come on, he's been very impactful. He's shown a bit of aggression and urgency. One player for me that hasn't been aggressive is Gakpo. And he has done in the last 2-3 games, but he needs to show that a lot more, because I feel like there's games where he's just very lackluster, just likes to pass here and there, but doesn't go aggressive with his pressing. But in the last 2-3 games, he's shown improvement. So hopefully he continues and brings that form going forward. Just got a few more comments here. So we've got Big Sam. Thank you for your comment, Big Sam. You said we are out. At the minute, yeah, it looks like it, but let's try and keep some glimmer of hope. Like I mentioned, until it's not the end, we can't say we're out. So we're the team that's more than capable of making that comeback. So yeah, let's keep some hope alive. I know it's hurting right now, straight after the games. I feel it as well. So let's stay positive. We're not completely out. It's halftime. That's how you have to look at it. It's halftime right now. Can we resurrect and get back into the game and try and equalize or try and get the winner? It's a slim chance, but there's always a possibility, especially when it comes to Liverpool. And then you've Gustav Scouser, you said we hope we sign in Sesko. You seem like you're a big fan of his, so interesting take there. A right back, CDM, and a wing. 3 to 4 players next season, and you've also written 200 mil. So in terms of that 200 mil, God knows where that's coming from. But in terms of the players you've identified, a right back, a CDM, and a winger. So for me, because I've started doing preparations for that Ruben Amorim show, I've written 3 players as well, but it's not the profiles that you mentioned. So just to give you a sneak peek, I think Liverpool should look to sign a left-sided centre-back, a defensive mid, so we're aligned there, but actually a left wing-back rather than a right wing-back. So I'll discuss that in more detail in the upcoming show. But yeah, 3 players for me is the 3 to 4. I wouldn't even say more than that. I think 3 players is the number of additions we should make in the summer, and we should have a complete squad from there on. So, but we can talk about this in due course, and I'm sure we will be, especially when we hear more concrete news. Obviously, we're not going to hear any confirmation with regards to Ruben Amorim. I believe he is the next Liverpool manager in terms of what we've heard from other sources. It's just that we're part of a title race, so are they, and you're not going to announce the next manager when the season hasn't concluded. The manager will be announced when the season's finished. That's just how it is. It's not going to be done during our campaign right now. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the next appointment, which, yes, we will, I'm sure, discuss in due time, or in due course, I should say. And that's a wrap up for today, guys. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to the likes of Graham, Goosestep Scouser, Burning Beam, and Big Sam. Appreciate your comments, guys. I'm seeing some new names in the live chat, so lovely to see. And thank you for your interaction as always. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Just got another comment here from Early Doors Football TV. So big up to you. He said, "Evening, Ozzie. First time on the show. Both our teams didn't get the result that we wanted. Second legs are going to be hard." So what was the final score in the end? Let me have a look, because when I last saw it was 2-0, wasn't it? So yeah, so that was the final score. So yes, it's not a good day for our teams, unfortunately, early doors. Yeah, it's going to be a big task. I think from your point of view, your second leg is at your stadium. So a slight encouragement there that, it's back at home. So hopefully your crowd can, cheer you guys on and be that 12th man. And it's 2-0, it's not too bad. For Liverpool, yeah, it's a disappointment. 3-0, and it's at their stadium, and they've got a good home record despite their inconsistency in this year. So, but likewise, it's not it's not looking good for either team. But yes, hopefully next week, I'm doing a match reaction and we're both through to the next round. That would be amazing. But yeah, until then, we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for your comment, and thank you for coming on the show for the first time. Appreciate your support. And you've also said, hopefully, but no Paqueta and Emerson because of the yellow cards. Oh, no. Didn't know about that. Okay. Yeah, Paqueta's going to be a huge loss. That's for sure. But look, you got to keep the hope alive. That's the beauty of being a football fan. You got to be in it to win it. So you're still there. Maybe you can pull out a worldy performance and break Xabi Alonso's winning streak, because they're still undefeated from what I know this season. So hopefully West Ham can do that. But yeah, let's see how it goes. So lots of games coming up. And yes, we've only got 7 days to find out the outcome of this quarterfinal. So yeah, that's the end. And thank you to Early Doors Football TV for your comment. Appreciate your and he's just giving me another comment. It says 100% hope to catch you another time. Yeah, hope to catch you soon as well. Yeah, come and catch me on the match action next week. Hopefully, yeah, we can speak a bit more positive about our teams. But yeah, thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you to everyone else for tuning in today. Appreciate your time. And yes, disappointed with the result, regardless to say, but we got to keep the hope alive. We got to look onwards and upwards. Next fixture is this Sunday. Liverpool face Crystal Palace. I will be doing a match preview tomorrow at 6 p.m, slightly earlier than usual. So yes, please don't forget to hit that notification bell. If you haven't already and you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So yes, we'll be back very soon in terms of upcoming shows. So match preview tomorrow, and I will be doing a live watch along for the Liverpool and Palace game and match reaction at 10 p.m on Sunday as well. So So yeah, lots of shows coming your ways, guys. Take care, stay safe. Don't let this result ruin your evening. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back. But yes, hope to speak to you all very, very soon. Goodbye.